KHQR.
When I took over the show, I never would have guessed in a million years that there'd be a whole posse involved with Wine Wednesday. And yet here we are with a whole group of people in studio, watching outside studio. It is Wine Wednesday, brought to you by Coop Wine Spirits Beer. Come see them in store for your expert advice. This week we've got Eric Southward in the house. Eric, say hi.
Hi, Joe.
And we have a special guest as well. Why don't you introduce him?
Yeah, well, this is Marcos Fernandez, the head winemaker for Doña Paula wines out of Argentina. So he's all the way here from Mendoza, one of the top wineries in the entire country of Argentina. We're happy to have him. He's kind of touring the market, letting everyone know why his wines are so sought after, why they work so well with Alberta beef, and why we drink a ton of them in our market. And yeah, I think I'm already sick of my own voice. I'd rather listen to him. So
I know, just because it's a different accent to it. So Marcos, give us a little bit of your backstory here, and what brought you here to Canada first off, and even beyond that is, what is it about Argentinian wine that has made you the connoisseur of connoisseurs for it?
Well, thank you for everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello to the audience, and happy Wine Wednesday for everybody. Sorry for my English and my accent, but well, I'm really happy to be here. The connection with Alberta, the beef, the cowboy style, the meat, the way how we cook the meat is very important for me, and I love this part of the country. So in Argentina we make, the most famous varietal from Argentina is Malbec. Malbec brings Argentina in the map. Varietal like Malbec found his place in Mendoza.
Right.
It's originally from France, but this varietal loves the hours of sun we have, dry weather, desert conditions. And Doña Paula, we make obviously Malbec, but also we do blends, white wines, and bunches of different kind of wines.
So you personally, how long have you been in Canada, and what kind of drew you personally to becoming a winemaker?
So, well, this is my fourth time in Calgary.
Okay.
Canada, I will say maybe 10 times.
Oh, wow.
After US is our biggest market, and inside of Canada is Alberta is our biggest province in terms of sales for Doña Paula. So that is because I am here.
Right.
And I love the people. I love the connection with the food. I love cooking, and I love the connection. So became a winemaker. I grew up in a family around wines. My father, he works forever in the wine industry like cork supplier. So we always had good wines at home. But when I was in the high school, I really wanted to be a doctor. And I went to a high school with a lot of chemistry, a lot of medicine.
You go from doctor to winemaker, but...
So in that high school with a lot of chemistry, physics, it was mandatory to do an internship in a winery. So I went to a winery because my father's connection, a good winery, 1998 was that. So my first vintage was an internship, and I was in love of that. So, but the good story is when I came back at home and I say to my mom and my father, I'm not going to be a doctor, I want to be a winemaker, they were crying. My mother was with the dream of having a doctor in the family, so but right. I still been the doctor of wines. The wines is always life. So.
I love that. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to do something that you love, right? And yes. This is one of those great stories. Eric, I'm curious about the Argentinian wine market here in Alberta. And you said that right off the bat that it pairs really well with Alberta beef. So does that make Argentinian wine that much more sought after here in Calgary and Alberta?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I mean, you were lamenting the snow coming up. It's just freezing here most of the year. And so the wines just tend to be richer. Right. They're almost like a nice big warm hug. You can have it with beef, but you can have it when you're watching Netflix. The wines tend to be pretty velvety and smooth, and we like that here in our market. And also they're just good bang for the buck. So people are always looking for good value. If you're buying a $15 bottle of wine, you want it to taste like $25. If you're going to, spend a little more, $25 or more, you want it to taste like a $50 wine. And the wines from Argentina tend to over deliver. So yeah, they're on fire in our market. They have been probably the last 5 years plus for all those reasons.
So last week, I mentioned the fact that I'm not a big wine connoisseur, and it wasn't that I was writing it off. It was just I never grew up in it.
We'll get you there.
We'll get me there before too long. For those who are in my shoes, who are sitting there going, okay, I'm hearing this, and I'm going to go into the store, what should I be looking for in an Argentinian wine?
Oh, man. I would say try to go to a store where you can get a little help. I mean, that increases your chances of getting a wine you like and avoiding what you hate.
Right.
And if you can communicate a few things like, oh, I just don't like anything too sour or too bitter, or I want something big and something that's going to punch me in the mouth with flavor, then someone can steer you in the right direction. I mean, if you're just going to grab a bottle off the shelf, good luck. Who knows, right?
Yeah, you're
what you're going to get.
A coin, essentially.
You're flipping a coin, and there's so many good wines out there. I mean, this producer, Doña Paula, probably produces, I mean, they took me through 7 or 8 wines yesterday in their portfolio. That's probably a quarter to maybe not even of what they produce, right? So, yeah, I would say try to get a little help, and don't worry about asking, questions or coming in with a dollar amount you want to spend. Someone like me just wants to make you happy, right? So that's what I'd recommend.
Marcos, you're the king. You're the doctor of wines here. You've brought in one. Tell us a little bit about it and what people should be expecting out of it.
Great. So we're pouring now is Doña Paula Estate Malbec. The word estate is very important for us because that means that we own the grapes, we own the vineyards, we grow the grapes, we do the winemaking process in the same property and the bottling. So to be allowed to be a state, you need these 3 conditions, plus all the wines that we do are very sustainable practices, we want to help in terms of the environment. In this particular Malbec is coming from Uco Valley, Doña Paula Estate Malbec, 2016. Is coming from Uco Valley, high elevation, 1,350 meters of elevation, a little bit more than where we are. Aging process here, we did 12 months of aging in French oak barrels, and this is a wonderful wine to pair with different kind of food. It's not necessary a heavy, I would say, steak. You can enjoy with pizza, burger. So I will invite all the consumers, all the audience, to try these kind of wines with simple food or by his own. So that is my goal. Perfect. Fresh wines.
Well, why don't we have a little sip here?
Yes.
And then I'll judge as the second timer.
Yeah.
Cheers across the table as well.
And I will say $18.99 at all of our co-op locations. This is our best-selling wine from this estate, for sure.
That is quite smooth. That is fantastic. Oh, boy. That is Eric Southward and Marcos Fernandez. Thank you guys so much for coming in on Wine Wednesday. Glad to have you guys both here. Wine Wednesday brought to you by Coop Wine Spirits Beer. Come see them in store for more expert advice.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.